The story starts with a company named Toll Brothers. So Toll Brothers is a company that is more of a luxury home builder, usually price points around $1 million plus for their homes. And the company's, the best thing ever pretty much could have happened to this company, right? You had a big wealth effect in the economy with very low inventory in real estate, right? And then you had actually mortgage rates go up, which locked a lot of people in at very low interest rates. And you had this kind of, couple year phenomenon where then somebody like a Toll Brothers, a big home builder, could basically give interest rates that were like teaser rates, like that significantly undercut kind of the average mortgage out there, right? And so what's happened with Toll Brothers earnings per share is it's gone to the moon, literally. Like, this is not normal, just so you guys are aware. This is not normal for a home builder to have their earnings per share go up like this. Now, this isn't just a Toll Brothers phenomenon. This is, if you look at pretty much all the public home builders and look at their earnings per share over the last few years, they've literally gone to the moon. It's ridiculous, right? Look at this. Toll Brothers went from a company that was kind of, a $3 to $4 EPS to $15 here recently. That's unbelievable, right? Now, there's been a lot of changes that are happening very recently in the higher end real estate market. Now, remember, for somebody like a Toll Brothers, they're selling homes $1 million plus. Well, if you look at my city, Vegas, right? I just kind of sorted here on Zillow $1 million plus homes, and I found there was over 900 results of $1 million plus homes. Inventory has been climbing significantly, specifically in this bracket. If you go down to like the under 500K homes, inventory is still a little tight in that bracket, but when we're talking $1 million plus, I can tell you inventory has loosened up extensively, specifically really in the last 3 to 6 months, okay? Let's look at this little area I have zoned in here in my city, right? 109 results for $1 million plus homes there. It's unbelievable. And I'm seeing some people getting kind of desperate with some of these high ticket homes, right? This is Floyd Mayweather's old home right here, okay? The one that he used to feature on all the boxing shows back in the day when they'd be documenting his life, getting ready for a fight. This was his famous home. And he listed this for sale, and he just cut price. $3 million. Not a small cut, $3 million. And he still can't move that house, right? Beautiful home, very well done, but he can't move it. It's a monster. But this is what's going on, and I'm seeing more and more price cuts. And the people that aren't doing the price cuts, those ones are just collecting dust. They're not moving these homes now at this point in time, right? Now, additionally, what we have seen here is since late September, where mortgage rates bottomed around 6%, we've seen a continuous move up in mortgage rates overall. And it's fascinating because this is completely the opposite that everybody thought was going to happen. What everybody thought was going to happen was the Federal Reserve was going to start cutting interest rates, which meant mortgage rates were going to plummet, right? And so people thought that mortgage rates were going to go from 6% into the 5s at this point in time, right? Now, generally speaking, if the Federal Reserve is in a cutting cycle, generally speaking, over time, mortgage rates will drop. And if the Fed is in a hiking cycle, over time, you'll see mortgage rates go up. But it doesn't work like instantly like that. Sometimes there's a 6 or 12 month lag there between the Federal Reserve cutting rates, because just because the Fed cuts the interest rate when it comes to Fed funds rate, that does not mean magically mortgage rates go down, because mortgage rates are affected by things outside of that. And so if suddenly, let's say, Treasury yields are jumping, right, because they believe inflation's coming back, the Fed's going to have to go higher, and all those sorts of things, right, then that could actually mean mortgage rates are going to go higher and higher and higher. So this is just a little food for thought in regards to this. And this is what's happened. And ultimately, none of this bodes well for somebody like a Toll Brothers. Like, if you're talking about mortgage rates going higher when people thought they were going to go lower, if you're talking about really, this is the main culprit, though. What I'm seeing is inventory starting to pile up in a lot of markets. I don't think that bodes very well for Toll Brothers. And so I started a position basically betting against Toll Brothers stock as a hedge for my portfolio of like, well, if things go south here, at least my portfolio's got a hedge. And so across my portfolios, I hedged with a Toll Brothers put, right? This specific one in the public count made me over 100%. And I had bought this on October 18th, less than 3 months ago. So I made over a 100% gain in less than 3 months on these Toll Brothers puts. I sold it out completely. Additionally, I had bought quite a few put options in my public account as well in regards to Toll Brothers as well. These were 170 puts. These were playing on the safer side, but I made over 70% on these. Look at this one was open November 12th. This one was open December 9th. So I made a lot of money in a very short amount of time in these puts, and I have now completely 100% sold out of all my put options on Toll Brothers now at this point in time. I have no put options on Toll Brothers anymore now at this point in time, right? Now, the reason it's gone so well, right, is because Toll Brothers stock plummeted. I mean, look at this. This is actually, I was watching some CNBC one day, and I saw, they brought this graphic up here. Toll Brothers, literally the worst stock of the home builders, down 23.3% month to date. Just incredible move. Now, do I believe there's more juice to be squeezed in regards to Toll Brother put options? Here's my opinion. I think there's a chance to squeeze some more juice here. It is possible. It's possible that Toll Brothers goes down to $80 or below $100, okay? And right now it's in the 120s. So it's possible it goes to under $100 or maybe even goes to $80 range. With that being said, I don't want to push my bets in regards to that. And the way I'll put it to you guys like this, right, is you be greedy with your long positions. When you own great companies, you can afford to be greedy with them. You can afford to have them go up hundreds of percent over time and not worry about selling, right, or 1,000%. If you own truly great companies, that's what they do. They're going to appreciate hundreds of percent, thousands of percent, or tens of thousands of percent over time. That's what great companies do. You go look at, track record of all the great companies you would respect on a high level, and that's what they do, right? But when it comes to hedges, when it comes to bets against stocks, against indexes, things like that, you don't get greedy. If you make a ton of money in a very short amount of time, when it comes to hedges, you take your profit and you say, peace out, I'm out of here. You run, okay? That's me in regards to Toll. So although there's a chance, we can call it, if I had to put an odds on it, I live in Vegas, they put odds on everything, right? If I had to put odds on it, I would say there's probably about a 50-50 chance Toll goes under $100 in the next 6 months. I would say there's probably a 20% chance that it goes under $80 in the next 6 months. With that being said, I don't want to take that risk because let's say I'm wrong and Toll starts to drift back higher, right? It goes to 130, 140, 150. People say, yeah, maybe inventory's going up, but Toll Brothers will be fine. They'll still put up great numbers. They're going to buy back a ton of shares. They're going to up their dividend, blah, blah, blah. Sure, all my profits are going to go evaporate in that situation, right? It's all going to go buy very, very quickly. And so I look at it and I say, I got a chance to make a huge profit here, a massive percentage. Peace out. I'm out. Like, I'm good. Like, if Toll Brothers continues to go down and it goes to $90 and I'm like, dang, I left some on the table. Fine with me. Like, that's just part of the game. You know what we call that? We call it the cost of doing business. It's the cost of doing business. Okay? You're never going to time these things out perfectly, but if you get a chance to make a fortune in a very short amount of time, you got to take that opportunity when it comes to your hedges, right? Be greedy with your long positions. Now, additionally, I have been receiving some dividend money, right? Nike just paid me out $495 in the public account. Meta just paid me out $850 in the public account. This is another reason you can be greedy with your long positions, right? Is over, years, those stocks should appreciate. But additionally, when you own great companies that also pay dividends, right? They pay you those dividends. Like, I'm going to have another $500+ coming in from Nike stock 3 months from now. I'm going to have another $850+ coming in from Meta another 3 months from now, right? And Nike and Meta are probably going to up those dividends more and more and more, right? And the great thing is I get that money every 3 months and then I can reinvest that money. I think it's, Meta next year is probably going to be paying me out $1,000+ because I think they're going to go up their dividend, in my opinion. They're probably going to start paying me out $1,000+ every 3 months just for Meta, which means I'll probably be collecting $4,000 or $5,000, maybe even $6,000 a year just in the public account alone from the dividends Meta paid me out. You can afford to be a little greedy when it comes to your long positions, okay? How would you like access to all my best course curriculums? My Becoming Master of the Stock Market course, my Stock Market Investing Mastery course, my Stock Options Mastery course, my Millionaire Playbook? How would you like access to all my best courses, as well as the ability to have access to my 6 and 7 figure plus Discord community where we're constantly keeping in touch with each other, talking about what's going on in the market. How would you like exclusive weekly videos from me? How would you like the ability to see what stocks I'm buying and selling in my $2 million plus Fidelity account? If that all sounds pretty interesting to you, apply to join my private group. That is going to be linked in the description area down there. You can click on that, fill out an application, and go ahead, hop on a call with Andre. Andre will walk you through the whole process. He'll walk you through the whole group, and you can go ahead and join us in there. Once again, the link for that is in the description area. The Cheesecake Factory. Oh, do I love this one. Oh, do I love this one. I'm trying to buy every share in sight. Stock has returned 34% over the past year. That does not include the dividends received for this one. Now, I would say the majority of individuals watching this video right now, you've heard of the Cheesecake Factory before. It's such a famous restaurant brand. I would say it's one of the most famous. Certainly in the world, at least, in my opinion, right? Company-owned restaurants, 215 in North America, right? As far as international, they have licensed over 30 restaurants as well. They talk about maybe being able to take it up to like 300 domestic locations long-term in regards to a Cheesecake Factory. We'll see what happens with that, right? But that's great. Cash cow business, very successful. We know Cheesecake, right? Also, super high unit volumes. I mean, look at this, $12 million plus unit volumes for Cheesecake. The next closer would be Meggiano's, 9.8 mil, Yard House, 9.7 mil, Texas Roadhouse, 7.6 mil, BJ, 6.1 mil, Olive Garden, 5.6 mil, right? And then goes down from there. So the Cheesecake Factory concept is a absolute animal cash flow machine, very successful restaurant brand, one of the most successful in history, right? And that's great. Like, that's the ATM machine for this company. But let me be very clear. The reason I'm invested, I kind of think about it like this, right? If you look back to, obviously, Palantir being such a successful stock for me, I never bought Palantir for the government opportunity. I bought Palantir stock for really the commercial opportunity because I always viewed that as a way bigger long-term opportunity than the government business, right? And that's proving to come true now, right? Very similar view that I have of Cheesecake Factory, where you could look at this company, you could be buying it for just a Cheesecake Factory restaurant concept, right? Which is very successful cash cow. But the things that are coming behind Cheesecake are like that Palantir commercial growth, in my opinion, where it's just relentless year after year, and it's going to become much bigger than the current business right now, okay? So North Italia is one of those such concepts. Now, when it comes to North Italia, this is in my opinion, very modern concept, making Italian food that is much needed in the market. Olive Garden, very poor quality at Olive Garden, okay? If you know Italian food well, like Olive Garden's like not very good Italian food, okay? North Italia, complete opposite. North Italia, you could put that up there with like mom and pop, like really good quality mom and pop Italian restaurants. You could put North Italia like up on that sort of mantle, like very, very high quality Italian food. Now, additionally, they do about 25% alcohol mix, which shows you the quality of the food at North Italia. Because in order to really get people to come spend on alcohol, you're going to be attracting the right type of consumers, and those sorts of consumers usually aren't going to eat the food at the place unless the food's really freaking good, okay? So North Italia, they make such good food, which helps attract consumers that have plenty of money, and those people with plenty of money are more than willing to buy a bottle of wine or a few cocktails while they're there, and those cocktails are, $10, $15, $20. So North Italia has an incredible opportunity here, right? They're going to expand this all over the United States of America, right? And this is a cheesecake type opportunity because they're talking about 200 domestic locations over time, right? And you look at Cheesecake right now, we just went through that. Cheesecake has about 215 domestic locations that are owned by the company. So this is what people got to understand. Like North Italia has an opportunity to be just as big as Cheesecake Factory, right? And North Italia doesn't have to do as big of revenues because the locations can be a lot smaller, but because the margins could be a lot higher here due to alcohol sales and being able to maybe churn a little bit faster, right? They're actually set up to be just as much of an ATM machine long term as a Cheesecake Factory concept is right now. And I think if we fast forward 7-10 years from now, you would see that, right? But that's the tip of the iceberg. We got a way bigger opportunity this company has. North Italia is not even the biggest. The biggest opportunity, and when I first started buying the stock, I didn't even understand how big of a concept this was. until I really went down the rabbit hole with this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is bigger than North Italia. This is going to be bigger than Cheesecake Factory, in my opinion. There's a concept called flower child. This flower child concept hits on all the places you really want to be in the day and age. It does not have like servers and waiters and waitresses and things like that, right? It's a concept where you go up, you order, this beautiful menu there. The food's all very high quality, healthy, a lot of high protein related food. So it definitely meets a lot of the criteria that the modern generations are really looking for, right? A lot of the restaurants are very bright, and they are able to do these in much smaller locations. But the fascinating thing with Flower Child is they're doing about 50% of their sales off premise, meaning somebody orders Flower Child and goes and picks it up. They don't actually eat in Flower Child, right? Which is very different than Cheesecake Factory concept or North Italia, certainly, right? And so when you think about this, you're going to be able to build much smaller locations, which means you can put a lot more locations in other places. When you talk about Cheesecake Factory, the actual Cheesecake Factory, you need a lot of space to put one of those down. Like a lot of space. Flower Child, you do not need a lot of space, which creates a dynamic here where you could make maybe 500 or maybe even 1,000 locations long term for Flower Child. They have not given a specific target, but based upon the latest investor conference, what I heard from what management team was sound like is they believe there's going to be more locations of Flower Child than Cheesecake Factory or anything else they have. And so this is a crazy big opportunity. Is it a Chipotle type opportunity? I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go as far to say Flower Child's the next Chipotle, but I would put it somewhere between a Chipotle type opportunity and like a North Italia type opportunity. That's where I would put it. Like this is the granddaddy of them all in my personal opinion, right? And so this will have the most locations in my opinion long term, and this will also have the best margins. The margins sound like they're incredible out of Flower Child as well. So keep an eye on Flower Child, and don't be surprised if 5 years from now you see this in every single major city and probably multiple locations in every single major city across the United States. Huge, huge opportunity. And remember, as the brand gets bigger, it's going to get easier and easier for them to open up day one and already be likely very, very profitable, right? Which is, a lot of people have never heard of this brand as of right now. 5 years from now, I think we're going to be in a very different situation. 7 years from now, I think it's going to be, this is like huge, huge opportunity. Now, additionally, behind that, they own Fox Restaurant Concepts, which all owns a bunch of these other brands: Doughbird, Blanco, Wildflower, Arrogant Butcher, The Greenhouse, Olive and Ivy, which, by the way, they have a great location in Scottsdale. If you've never been to that location, you ever looking to go on a date night with your missus, okay, or your mister, whoever, check out the location. It's kind of by Fashion Square Mall. Fashion Square Mall. It's right on the waterfront there. Oh, beautiful, beautiful location. Anyways, I had a good time there. Flyby, Zinburger, The Henry, these sorts of opportunities, Culinary Dropout. These are in testing phase right now. So they have 47 locations of these. Basically, all these locations are phenomenally run. The food's good. The drinks are good there. They're busy. Like, go to any of these concepts. And if you live in Arizona, you have a vacation in Arizona, Phoenix area, Scottsdale, whatnot, go to some of these locations. You're going to find they're busy and they're phenomenal. But these ones are in testing phase right now, okay? And you got to understand about the restaurant industry. Most restaurants have trouble even making it, right? So that's like a stage, like, can you make it? The second question is, can you not only have one location, but multiple locations in a market, right? The next question after that is, can you take it to more of a regional play? Like, let's say the West Coast of the United States. And the next phase after that is national. Can you go national? Can you go all over the United States? And then the last phase is, can you go international, right? And the biggest brands in the food space have been able to do that. Taco Bell and McDonald's and Starbucks and those sorts of brands, right? Chipotle maybe even going international, right? So those are the kind of the phases. So what Cheesecake Factory is doing with the FRC concepts is they're basically testing these out. They're saying, let's see. Like, what if we open up a second location, third location, fourth location? What if we take this to another market, right? And they're basically testing this out, seeing, like, can this work in another market? Can this work in another market, right? That's the way you find out if we have another North Italia coming, if we have another Flower Child coming, those sorts of opportunities, right? And so, you look here and they're opening a lot of these, the Cheesecake Factory, for instance, they've only opened up one recently. One. Right? all the major growth for this company is in North Italia, Flower Child, Culinary Dropout. They opened 3 locations. So see, they're taking something like Culinary Dropout very serious. Just very recently, they opened up 3 locations of Culinary Dropout. Atlanta, Georgia. Shout out to Atlanta if anybody's watching this. Birmingham, Alabama. In Dallas, Texas. Anybody watching this from Dallas, Texas, okay? So this is like kind of in that testing phase where they're like, let's see several different markets, right? Let's see if this is going to be successful. Because I can tell you the Culinary Dropouts in Scottsdale, in the Phoenix area of Arizona, are very successful. But it's like, okay, can we get outside of Scottsdale? Can we get outside of Phoenix and go to other cities and other states out there and really see, what's going on? So if you look here, 2022, they opened up 13 new restaurants. 2023, 16 new restaurants. Like around 22-ish restaurants in 2024. And they'll probably open, I would say, 25 to 30 restaurants in 2025, right? And I believe after 2025, they should be able to open up about 30 to 40 restaurants a year. For honestly, the next decade. Literally, they could probably add 30 to 40 restaurants every single year for the next 10 years. If not, take it up to 50 locations. Flower Child alone, as they get more data and they see how successful this concept is, I wouldn't be surprised if Flower Child concept alone, they start doing 20 to 30 locations a year. Just a Flower Child. Then you got North Italia on top of that. Culinary Dropout's probably the next hit, right? Blanco might be the next hit. We'll see, right? Gosh. So you got to understand there's a lot of new restaurants coming here down the pipeline for Cheesecake. And they have the next 10, 20 years just already laid out for them. No, this I think is very important because you always want to kind of look at how did a restaurant perform during the great financial crisis. Now, keep in mind, Cheesecake Factory during the great financial crisis, I would say a much weaker company back then, right? Only one brand. I wouldn't say their financials were nearly as strong as nowadays. So they're a much weaker company, but yet look at how well they got through the great financial crisis. One, their restaurant sales weren't down nearly as much as their competition, right? Additionally, I want you to pay attention right here. This shows you adjusted earnings or loss per share in 2009, 2010. 2009, 2010 was a disaster economy, massively high unemployment, right? Not a good time to be in the restaurant business. A lot of restaurants went under in 2009, 2010. And you look at how Cheesecake did. $1.07 in 09 and $1.42 in 2010. Keep in mind, this is a much weaker company back then than the Cheesecake you see nowadays. Look at free cash flow. Free cash flow of $163 million in 2009. Free cash flow in 2010 of $128 million. It's incredible. It's incredible. Now, the great thing with Cheesecake is if the company ever has to go through a great financial crisis type time where unemployment goes to 10% or something like that, right? Cut dividends, cut share buybacks, open less locations, and your free cash flow is going to fly. It's incredible. That's a very, very special company. And it makes me feel very comfortable holding this. Because most of the time, the economy is going to be decent, right? Sometimes the economy is going to be great. And sometimes the economy is going to be crap. And I want to hold companies that I feel can get through whatever, right? Now, additionally, you look at the dividend here of Cheesecake, right? So they were upping it from 2018 to 2019. They upped it from 29 cents to 33 cents. Then they upped it going into 2020 from 33 cents to 36 cents. And what happened? Boom! Government shuts down the world, right? And so that devastated the restaurant industry. We all know what it was. So then finally Cheesecake was able to bring back their dividend in May of 2022. And so far, they've kept the dividend steady at 27 cents. I do believe there's an extremely high probability that in 2025, they do go up on that dividend. I think they're probably going to go up to 30 to 35 cents per share you own, and that's per quarter getting paid out there. So that's what I believe. We'll see what happens, but I think there's an extremely high probability they're going up on that dividend. Right now, they want to keep a lot of their cash flow to build out locations because that's their biggest opportunity. But it's still great that you get that dividends paid out to you in the meantime, right? It's pretty sweet. Additionally, you look at their latest income statement from their latest quarter. It was in grade A, really good numbers. $865 million of revenue versus $830. Food and beverage costs dropped as a percent of revenue significantly. Labor expenses did as well, right? You look at total costs as a percent of expenses went to 96.1%. Before it was 97.7%, right? Income from operations went to 3.9% of revenue. I think these numbers are going to continue to climb over this next year. So I don't think we've reached a top here. And so the numbers continue to trend better. And I think that's going to be a multi-year thing you see play out there, right? So that's phenomenal. Now, in regards to Cake, this is silly. I mean, it's trading at a forward P of 13, way too cheap. I mean, when we're talking about this company has two basically guaranteed massive growth concepts, coming behind them, there's no reason at all that this company should not be commanding a 20 to a 30 forward P right now. Right now. You're going to see how silly this is going to be over this next 3 years. You'll see. And you'll be like, oh, like that was ridiculous. Like a forward P of 13 with those major growth concepts coming behind them, like, it's not like those are in question mark phase where it's like, oh, is North Italia going to make? No. Like go to North Italia anywhere and you'll realize quickly, like, oh yeah, like this is going to be huge across the whole United States. Go to a Flower Child, any location they have, and you'll be like, oh yeah, like this is like no question, like this is like going to be huge over this next many, many years. So yeah, they'll look back and be like, this was silly, right? So up $25,000 so far in the stock. This does not include dividends. Long way to go in this one. I'm still buying shares, and I'm going to continue to buy shares throughout 2025. I don't think I'm done buying the stock anytime soon. I'm just going to be quite frank with you guys. Long way to go, okay?